Hi, welcome to Glow's Kinder Kitchen, and I'm Glow. Today we're going to be roasting a pumpkin, a pie pumpkin actually to be exact. They're just a small pumpkin that I had bought at the grocery store. Over the years making pumpkin pie, I have bought canned pumpkin several times, but I have found that by roasting my own pie pumpkin, my pumpkin pies turn out much better. So I thought I'd show you what I do as far as, cutting open my pumpkin and roasting it. And then when I'm ready to make my pumpkin pie, I'll show you what I do for that, but that'll be in another video. So let's get started. First of all, I already went ahead and I washed this pumpkin with in my sink with a little bit of soap and water because they've been sitting in the fields, and you just want to make sure that you've got a clean pumpkin before you start cutting into it, since we're going to be using this to eat. So the first thing I'm going to do is, this is the stem portion, and I'm going to cut that off. And pumpkins and squash and stuff are very hard to cut into, so this might take a little bit. But you can see how I started with the point of my knife. And some squash and pumpkins are harder than others to cut. So I'm just kind of cutting around it. And there we go. So that's what it looks like in the inside. And you can actually save these seeds and roast those as well. And I think I may do that today. So we would like roasted pumpkin seeds. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this in half down like this. I'll do the other side. So it's just easier by doing that to remove your seeds. And I'm going to cut it again, just like that. And let's see, I'm just going to put the seeds right here since I'm going to keep them. Let's see if I can turn this so you guys. This is a grapefruit spoon, and I found this works very well for removing seeds from squash, pumpkins, whatever. You can tell it really helps to clean it up. So that's all you have to do to that. And you could cut it in another smaller piece if you want, but this is a pan that I use strictly for roasting vegetables, meats or whatever. And I put a piece of foil on this just for help for cleanup. And when you place your pumpkin on here to roast, you can place it right side up, or you can place it like this, whichever way you want to do. I already have my oven preheating to 375 degrees. They recommend that you roast your pumpkin anywhere between 350 and 400 degrees. And I have just found through the years that 375 works for me. So, and it usually takes anywhere from a half an hour to an hour to roast your pumpkin, just depending on what size your pieces are. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and continue to do this as far as cutting this up and removing the seeds. And I'll be putting it in the oven. And then after it's roasted, I'll show you what I do next. Hi, well, I wanted to show you what this looks like just before I put it in the oven. I ended up cutting up the other pumpkin as well. And if I have any extra after I've roasted this, that is like a leftover, I'll probably freeze it for like pumpkin bread or pumpkin cake, or maybe even a pumpkin pie at Christmas time. But I just wanted to show you how they cleaned up using this grapefruit spoon. I don't know if you can see, but there's like little tiny teeth on this spoon, and it just scrapes it right off. And you can see over here the seeds and the pulp that I've got here. I guess that's what you would call it. It's like string. And I'm going to be removing, the seeds out of that to roast here in a little bit. But I just wanted to show you what it looks like. Here's the top. as well. And then when this is all roasted, I'll be able to put a fork right through it. It'll be super tender. And at that point, then I will let it cool, and then I'm going to be running it through a food mill, and I'll show you how I do that. And you can actually lightly salt this if you would like before you start roasting, but since I'm using this for a pie, I'm not going to salt it today. If I was going to use it as a savory dish, which we do sometimes, then yes, I would add a little bit of salt to it. But anyway, I will see you back in about an hour. Hi, I just now took my pumpkin out of the oven. It did take 45 minutes, and you can tell I can just stick that knife in there and it is so done. So now the next step is I'll need to let this cool so that I can run it through my food mill, and I'll show you how I do that. I'll see you back in a bit. Hi, well, my pumpkin has been all cool now, and so I can pick it up and work with it very easily. And what I'm going to do, this is a food mill, and had this in our family for years, and I use it a lot for stuff like this. So what you want to do is you want to see how easy that is to just peel off with the peel.
Very easy, Miss Chloe.
Yep, so I'm just going to put that in here. You really don't have to have a food mill. I like to do it just in case there are some strings or something that I don't want in my pie or cake or whatever I'm going to be making with this, and that's why I do it. I want it to be real smooth. I imagine a ricer would work good too. I have one of those, but I've never used it for this. So this is actually the top of the pumpkin, and I'm just going to remove all the pulp, puree, whatever you want to call it, meat. It smells good. You can smell the roasted pumpkin. Roasted pumpkin just adds a lot more flavor to your pie or whatever it is you're going to make. I sometimes steam pumpkin too. It's quicker, but it doesn't have quite the flavor that roasted does. And these little pie pumpkins we bought were only 99 cents each. You just want to make sure you get all that peel off of there. And sometimes you do, if your pumpkin is a little dry, you're going to need to add some water to the puree, and we'll find out if we need to do that with this or not. So anyway, I'm going to show you here how I do it. After I put this in here, you just spin it around. And you can go backwards and it picks it up. And we'll make it go through again. And let's see, you can already see where some of it is coming through. So I'm going to go ahead and continue with this, and I'll be back with you in just a little bit. I'll show you what it looks like. Hi, well, I've been busy using this food mill here, and as you can tell, everything went through pretty much. So a few little strings, but not much at all. And here's our finished product. Isn't that beautiful?
That's good, Miss Chloe.
But I wanted to tell you also, you could actually push this through a sieve if you wanted to with a spoon and into a bowl, or you could mash it with a potato masher or like the ricer, whatever works best for you and what you have in your kitchen. The main thing is you want to get rid of any strings there might be. But to be honest with you, there weren't hardly anything. There wasn't any of that in this. Now also, instead of pureeing it like I did to make a dessert, you can make a potato, like a souffle, almost like a sweet potato souffle with this. Or you could serve it as pieces after you roasted it, and you could drizzle on butter with herbs, or you could do butter with like cinnamon and nutmeg. There's so many things you could do, and another thing that's really good on it is maple syrup and brown sugar, whatever, anything like that. So actually, pumpkins are very healthy for you, and there's so many different options that you can do with a pumpkin. I hope you've enjoyed this, and I'm going to be using this for a pumpkin pie. See you later. Bye.